Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of the day you're watching this to everybody. See? Smaller intro. To anyone who is curious about why I reverted back to my old intro yesterday, it was by accident. I had to re record the first 10 minutes and I was already in a groove when I started and I just forgot I changed my intro. So, welcome everybody, and it's working out for now. May go back to the old one, we'll see. As I always start out with, mental health, very important. If you're going through anything and you're debating a permanent solution to a temporary problem, dial 988. And I'll turn this off, 988. Those are the mental health mental health professionals, of which I am not. And I don't want to say anything that could potentially cause harm. But asking for help is not an embarrassing thing to do, and should actually be commended because it still is very stigmatized, and I understand that. I'm just going to talk about some random things today. Keep it short, keep it light. I'm not feeling too well. I don't know what's going on, like a bug or something, but I'm going to go to bed early this evening. But first, I'd like to say, how about them Cowboys, right? And I know people's response to me. They're like, aren't you a fan of the Arizona Cardinals? And the answer is yes. However, I know what I'm signing up for. I know a 4-win season, most of the times, is considered a success. The Cowboys' goalpost is always Super Bowl or bust. Well, I got my 4-win season. I'm a winner. Did you get your Super Bowl? No. There's one Cowboys fan, though, I'm concerned about. And I hope he's doing all right. And that was the guy who was caught 2 years ago when the Cowboys lost to the 49ers with his arm around what we thought was his girlfriend at the time with a tear trickling down his face. He seemed very sad, and I felt for him. And then it came out that was actually his side piece, woman on the side, who was not his girlfriend while he was in a relationship. And he had actually formed this guy's trip, or he told his girlfriend he was going on a guy's trip so he could hang out with the other girl. He really put in a lot of effort to successfully spend time with this other girl, only to get it ruined by ESPN. So he went from a no-name to the football team losing, the world seeing him cry. Now, I'm not a boys don't cry person, but I kind of think he might have been. And he was caught cheating. I don't promote cheating, obviously, but after Steve Bartman, which they already made a ESPN thing on, he's the fan next in line I think they should make one on, because I want to know what's going on in that guy's life. I know he was doxxed. I was able to find his name. I will not be saying it. But I'm sure his life just took some interesting turns after that. And I want to hear the story. But no real update on him since that day. I'm just saying I hope he's doing okay. I hope everyone's doing okay. But I can't imagine his life has been that easy since, because they were brutal to him on what was known as Twitter at the time. So, hope that dude's all right, although I don't agree with what he did. Okay, Iowa caucus. I was going on, and huge surprises. I can't believe what's going on, and the reason I can't believe it is because I haven't looked it up, because I have no idea, because it's going to be what it's going to be. We'll see. Let's move that to the side. If you want my predictions, they haven't changed, because I haven't gotten any information that would make them change. You can watch yesterday's episode to see where I believe the chips will fall when it comes to Iowa. I just want to clear up some things from yesterday I said about the general election. That was what I gave was a very brief overview of how I see things turning out. The state breakdown I gave was a worst case scenario. I know one of my biggest fans commented that he doesn't necessarily see Arizona, or Georgia, I believe, going back into the Trump column. I think it's too early to tell. I don't know. It's too far out. But that wasn't a prediction, my prediction of what I really think the states will be. That was like a doomsday scenario where we end up with still Biden winning 270 to 268. I did move Arizona back into the Trump column, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen because the Democrats have been handed a gift in the name of Kari Lake, who was running for Senate on the Republican ticket, and nobody likes her. Really, people passionately don't like her. People will come out to vote just to vote against her who wouldn't have voted if her name wasn't on the ballot. So I definitely believe that just her name on the ballot helps Biden a lot. If it was just random Republican nominee, I think Arizona probably would flip back to Trump. But with Lake on the ballot, I think it's pretty safely still in the Biden column. But I just wanted to show the numbers that how it really falls on the Rust Belt. I don't think Nevada is flipping, but I flipped it on my analysis yesterday just to show how difficult it would be for there to be a Trump victory. And that the Rust Belt is staying strong right now, and I believe it will continue to. But I didn't go into nearly a fraction of the issues affecting the election, like, the economy, the wars, so many things. It was just a very brief introductory overview on how I see things right now. Very subject to change, and obviously throughout the course of this year, I will be dissecting every little bit of factions and factors that will affect this presidential election. So, I was having a debate with somebody yesterday about whether or not naturalized citizens should be able to run for president. Now, I very passionately think they should. However, it seems as if the Constitution doesn't agree with me. But St. Junger is making some pretty strong arguments that maybe it does. Because when two parts of the Constitution conflict each other, maybe we need to look at what was put in the most recent. So, when the Constitution was written, Article 2 states, and I quote, "No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution," all those people are dead. They're not affected. That last few words doesn't affect anything. "Shall be eligible to the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained the age of 35 and been 14 years a resident within the United States." Other than some of the Yoda wordery, it sounds pretty clear. However, after the Civil War, the 14th Amendment was enacted. So now we're talking about the 1860s. Obviously, after way after all the founders who wrote the original text were no longer with us. And that said, all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens, and that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges and immunities of citizens of the United States, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So they say that if you're a citizen, you're entitled to equal protection under law. Well, the ability to be president could be argued is something that should be protected. And if you're a citizen, the 14th Amendment doesn't carve that out. So because the 14th Amendment was written after Article 2 and the argument could be made that they contradict one another, does the part of Article 2 which denies naturalized citizens the ability to run for president, has that been overruled by enacting the 14th Amendment? And I think these are very interesting arguments, and I don't know. This is something I really need to dig my research cap deeper in, but Cenk is making an interesting argument. Now, personally, I think naturalized citizens should be able to run for president. Of course I do. In fact, they may be more patriotic and, what's the word I'm looking for, excited to help the country than a non-naturalized citizen. Case in point, people ask me, Ian, are you proud to be an American? And my answer every time is no. And of course, people get offended. What? Are you talking bad about America? Love it or leave it. Get out. Do you hate America? No. It's a matter of wording. Proud to be an American? To me, if I'm going to be proud of something, I need to have done something worthy of pride. In my case, two people happened to get it on in America, and 9 months later, I was born within the boundaries of America. It took no effort. I didn't do anything to be an American, so there's nothing for me to be proud of, because I'm proud of my accomplishments. And being an American was just a matter of circumstance, a biological accident. However, a naturalized citizen, I believe, has every right to state they're proud to be an American because they went through the process. They had to take steps. They had to do things. They had to earn the right to be an American. And the fact that they were put in a position to earn the right means they did and took activities worthy of them to be proud of. So I say I'm not proud to be an American, which doesn't speak about America at all. It just speaks for the fact that I didn't do anything pride-worthy. Naturalized citizens did, and there's like 24 million of them too in America. So if we're talking about equal protection under law, are we really denying equal protection to 24 million citizens? I don't agree with it. I mean, I'm really going to have to do a lot of digging into the law to make a persuasive argument to convince me, though, that constitutionally naturalized citizens are eligible, because I'm leaning towards they're not, although I want them to be. But, now, just to, clear, am I proud of America? Well, that's a little broad, but I'm proud of certain things we do. And I am not proud of other things we do. So I'm proud of the fact that we got rid of slavery, not proud of the fact that we had it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to do some more research into this, though, because I'm at war with myself. I really want to believe that the 14th Amendment has overruled Article 2, but I'm not sold. And I want to be sold. So I'm going to try to sell myself. Oh, that doesn't sound good. But nor would I be able to because there's no market for this. But so stay tuned. More to come on the naturalized citizen argument. Another thing, which is going to lead me into a new portion of Ian Zev's life here, is if you are interested in seeing a very bad movie and wasting 95 minutes of your life, you can do one of two things. You can just beat your head against the wall for 95 straight minutes, or you can see the movie Walk of Shame, which I did so you don't have to. Wow, was this movie something else? And by something else, I mean like not identifiable whatsoever. Basically, a spoiler warning. Synopsis is Elizabeth Banks breaks up. She's a news anchor, breaks up with her fiance, goes out with her girlfriends because she was turned down for a promotion, goes down, gets a little wild, goes home with a guy she met that night, tries to sneak out without him hearing her leave. I guess that's the Walk of Shame part of it. I always thought Walk of Shame was like a college thing where other people would say, but okay. And then her car has gotten towed and she locked her phone in the gentleman's place. So she's walking through LA, where during the course of the evening into morning, she is called a stripper, a hooker, a junkie, a crack whore, a drug dealer, a thief, a witch, and a masseuse who gives happy endings. So definitely trying to emphasize the stereotypes here. But then right at the end, in the last 2 minutes, the director, poorly, tries to pull a 180 and make this a feminist movie. And fails completely. It's directed by the same guy who directed Little Nicky, one of the poor quality Adam Sandler films. However, I got one thing out of this movie, which was while she was misthought to be or confused with a masseuse who gives happy endings, the taxi driver, who was supposedly a immigrant from an unidentified country, says, this is while she's standing on the pole and I guess her feet are on his thing. I don't know. I really wasn't watching it that intensely. But he says, I'm ready for conclusion happy. And that made me laugh. So we're going to end Ian Zev's Life shows with conclusion happy. The conclusion happy portion. Because I think I should always end on a positive note. So, today, I'm going to talk, it can be something I'm happy about, something in society that's going on, but today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I think there's a lot of positives we can gain from what Dr. King taught. Not here to talk about his politics, not here to talk about some of the other issues surrounding him near the later later portions of his life where he seemed to tread back on the peaceful protests as hardcore as he did at one point. But what I want to talk about when it comes to Dr. King is the fact that he promoted peace and peaceful protests and open dialogue, open discussions. And I really think there's something to that. I don't believe there's any conflict that can't be solved that must be solved by a violent solution. And that goes from someone cutting me off on the street to what's going on in the Middle East. Peace should always win. And there's nothing, I seriously can't think of anything that two people can't sit down over a cup of coffee or tea or water or whatever and just talk, regardless of how much they disagree. Now, is that what's happening in this world? Not so much. But I believe it's possible. And if more people were to latch onto the beliefs that Dr. King taught about peaceful protests, I think we'd be in a much better place than we are now. And in that vein, I'm going to wish a happy birthday to the Daily Wire. I don't know if he's the CEO, but head commentator Ben Shapiro, who turns 40 today, who I agree with on just about nothing, but I admire the way he debates, and I believe him to be very intelligent and well-intended, even if I wouldn't go about anything the way he does when it comes to beliefs and opinions. I don't believe they're coming from a place of hatred. And just going to leave it at that. And also I believe Ben is open-minded to have a discussion with anybody about anything. Not going to say at any time because he observes the Sabbath, but I respect Ben. I do. I know a lot of people who have my belief structure do not. I do. And I believe I'm able to because of the peaceful teachings that I got from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So that's the conclusion happy portion of Ian Zev's life. Just going to put something in all your brains right now. I want to come up with a name for my fan base. You know, like Taylor Swift has the Swifties. Nikki Glaser has the Besties. I got to come up for something because I know any day now I'm going to log on and I'm going to have 1 billion followers. So I'm thinking people, they can be called the Zev Heads. You know, when I was a little kid, my grandfather and uncle, they called me the Zeved or the Zever. That's what they called me. The Zever. So should my fan base be the Zevers or the Zev Heads? Like, I just want something quick and catchy that has a connection to me. Zev is my middle name. On that note, I'm tired, not feeling too great. Gonna call it. Love y'all. And tomorrow I will have a full breakdown of the Iowa results, what I got right, what I got wrong, and a sneak peek at where I see New Hampshire landing. And if I believe anything has changed when it comes to the general, which I don't think I will in the next 24 hours. You never know, though. Love y'all. Bye.